Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. It's not a project. We're not digging in the dirt or trying to make something work so we can use it. And I don't consider myself to be a product reviewer, but we're going to talk about work boots today. I found myself needing some new work boots and spent quite a bit of time doing research. And what I've noticed over the last year and a half is more and more people on YouTube talking about a company called Nicks Boots. Been around since 1964, based on the West Coast out of Seattle. And they seem to have gotten a good reputation in the wildland firefighting community and among construction workers. They build what seems to be a quality product. It's all hand stitched, hand cut, using really good Vibram soles, and they just seem like they're going to hold up really well. You know, I've worn boots for most of my entire life, but about better part of the last 30 years in the Army, I've worn all kinds of boots. Good boots, bad boots, leather boots, modern materials. And what I find is that I'm very hard on boots. The things that I do on a daily basis, I seem to go through boots about a pair a year. And if I get lucky and I don't wear them every day, I might get 18 months out of them. These boots, pretty much look like they're lifetime boots. I'm sure at some point they're going to have to be rebuilt, but they are made a lot more soundly than anything you're going to go buy off the shelf. And so, since it looked like something I thought you might be interested in, I figured we'd take a look at them. I'm not going to talk about too much in the way they're constructed. If you want to find out really in depth how they're constructed, I'd recommend going to a YouTube channel called Rose Anvil. He takes time and cuts these boots apart, and you can see how they're made. You can see the different layers of leather that go into them. He does it on a lot of different brands, so you can compare if you're used to wearing Red Wings or Carolinas or whites or whatever. I'm sure he's got a video cutting them apart so you can see how they're manufactured. The other thing to look at is Nicks Boots has a YouTube channel, and there are some really good videos in there showing them building these boots and also showing them getting in old boots and doing resoles and rebuilds on boots that have had the living crap worn out of them. So you might find that interesting. I'll put links to both of those in the description down below. We'll take a look at these boots, and I'll bring in some of my other boots and give you an idea of how long I've had them and a rough idea of what I paid for them. And you can kind of, make your own decision. These boots are not cheap. I paid a little over $500 for them, but I think they're worth it. So we can take a look at this, and y'all can make your own decision. You probably recognize my backdrop from my high dollar studio we were in a little bit ago. I am living in my fifth wheel. For those of you in my audience from Britain, in the caravan, since we're trying to get a house built, so it was easier to do this part moving outside. So I had to convert my backdrop into a tablecloth. These are my Nicks boots that I was talking about. These are the Builder Pro. I got them with a steel toe because, well, I don't really want to cut my toes off if I'm running a chainsaw, or I don't want to smash them if I drop something heavy on them. But you can see they're made with Vibram soles, and this is the fire resistant or heat resistant sole. And since I do quite a bit of welding, I've figured I might as well get a sole that would resist getting welding rods and stuff burned into it as much as possible. The way they're made is pretty fascinating. You know, all of this is hand stitched leather, stitched up the back, and it's what I would consider to be harness leather, or leather like you would use for making horse tack. It's pretty heavy duty stuff, and I was very, very impressed when I got these things out of the box and started walking around in them, just how well they fit. Now, the last that I got is the one with the original arch support, or a high arch support, because I have pretty high arches, and the thing fits absolutely perfectly. And you know, you can see if you look at the soles on it, they're screwed in place around the toe, they're double stitched, the heels are held on with nails, and they're glued. And if you're curious about these, I would highly recommend that you go to their website or their YouTube channel and see how these things are made. And the reason that I'm trying to get some new boots, these are the boots that I wear pretty much every day. They are double H steel toe boots that have the oil and slip resistant sole on them. As far as the sole goes, I tend to wear out a heel about twice as fast as I do regular sole under the ball of your foot. But what happens with me, I'm working with barbed wire, I'm working with rocks, I'm driving a tractor, I get hydraulic fluid on them, and usually I end up tearing them up across the toe. You can see the midsole and the sole is separating, and the toe is worn through. This is from working on the ground, running fence or welding or whatever, and just run, you know, it wears through. But usually what happens is after hay season, the stitching all starts letting go across here and across the top of the instep, because I end up getting covered in hydraulic oil at least once. Usually I can get about a year out of a pair of these boots. The last set of these boots I bought, I paid right at $200 with taxes, and by the time I put a set of insoles in them, that's another $30 or so for a good, you know, set of long wearing work insoles. So I'm $230 into it. So every year I can figure, as long as prices don't go up, I'm gonna spend about $230 on a pair of these boots. Well, I also wear these. These are Carolina, I think they're called a logger boot, and you can see they're generally in the same condition. I don't wear these as much because when you're working around cows and in the mud, your wife is not very happy when you fill these lug soles up with the things you step in and bring it in the house. And I've got to unlace them to take them off. So if I'm going in and out of the house, you know, it's easier to slip those double H's off and on. But these boots have lasted me probably about 18 months worth of wear. You can see the sole is basically worn flat. There's no lugs on the ball of the foot of this one, and the heel's held up pretty well. But the upper is cut up pretty bad, and in general, you know, they're just falling apart. The steel cap is coming out of this one. The toe is torn up on it. The ball of the foot again is basically gone. They're just wearing out. And again, I paid about $200 for this pair of boots. So my logic was, if I'm gonna spend $200 on a pair of boots or $400 on 2 pairs of boots, why not spend a little bit more and get something that I can have rebuilt instead of just resold? Because if you send this boot in for a rebuild, it's not going to be cheap. It's going to cost you about the price of one of those other pairs of boots, if I remember right. But it's cheaper than buying 1 or 2 pairs of those boots every year and not having something that's going to last you who knows how many years. They're, like I say, they're just a better built quality product. So take a look at their website, their YouTube page, look at that Rose Anvil page, see how these things are built. And you're gonna have to make your own decision, but based on my initial impression, I think they're worth it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you found that information useful. And if somebody else is like me and they're hard on boots and they're looking for a good pair of boots, I'd say go check Nicks out. They've got a lot of different styles besides just work boots. Like I say, they specialize in stuff for wildland firefighting, but they also make a lot of what I would consider to be city boots. Just good quality handmade footwear that you'd wear on a daily basis. So check them out. Y'all have a good day.